Filmmaker Jamila Nuruddin was locked down in Los Angeles during the pandemic, watching as the nation convulsed in protest over the murder of George Floyd, when she had an epiphany: America does not deserve me. As a black woman, Nuruddin always tried to work twice as hard as those around her, thinking, if I'm smart enough, pretty enough, successful enough, then finally people will treat me as a human being. But as she grieved yet another unarmed black man killed by police, she decided she was done trying to prove herself to a society that she felt would never really love her back. So Nuruddin, 39, packed her bags and left. She ended up in Costa Rica, in an idyllic beach town on the Caribbean coast that has become a hub for hundreds of black expatriates fed up with life in the United States. She now spends her days working for U.S. clients from chic cafes, leading healing ceremonies at a local waterfall, and trying to figure out who she is, exactly, outside of an American context. It's like leaving an abusive relationship, she said of exiting the United States. The expats forging new lives in Puerto Viejo are part of a wider exodus of black Americans from the U.S. in recent years, with many leaving for reasons that are explicitly political. Exhausted by anti-black discrimination and violence back home, they are building communities in countries such as Portugal, Ghana, Colombia, and Mexico. Often referred to as Blaxit, which combines the words black and exit, the movement has been boosted by social media, where influencers share inspirational posts about their odysseys abroad and challenge others to join them. It is also aided by a new industry of businesses that provide relocation services specifically for African Americans, and by Facebook and WhatsApp groups such as Black in Bali, Black in Tulum, and Brothers and Sisters in Mexico City, whose members share tips on everything from how to pay local bills to where to find good hairstylists. There are no official statistics on how many have left the country, but academics say it may be one of the most significant emigrations of African Americans since the first half of last century, when many black artists decamped to Europe. The late writer James Baldwin, who was part of that earlier wave, said he moved to France in 1948 with the theory that nothing worse would happen to me there than had already happened to me here. 7 decades later, the U.S. is still grappling with racism, with black people twice as likely as white people to be killed by police and black workers earning less on the dollar than their white counterparts. In Florida, a new law forces teachers to downplay the impact of slavery, and across the country, far-right activists are seeking bans on books touching on black history. Americans of all races have been leaving the U.S. thanks to the pandemic shift to remote work. But for black Americans, many of whom were distraught over the political and racial divisions the pandemic years highlighted, the decision to move abroad is about more than just saving money or having an adventure. It gave people time to question, said Christian Wright, who launched a podcast in 2020 that documented her move to Lisbon. She now works as a relocation consultant and is helping about a dozen families restart in Portugal. They are mostly black professionals with children, she said, in search of a better quality of life without the emotional and psychological strain. Many of those who are leaving are trying to escape their Americanness, yet are also having to confront the power of their dollars and what Wright calls passport privilege. Christian Wright, 49, a former marketing executive who spent most of her life in New York and New Jersey, left in part because she couldn't bear the thought of living through another American presidential election. During the 2020 contest, after which President Trump's supporters overran the U.S. Capitol to try to stop certification of Joe Biden's win, she was racked by insomnia and lost her appetite. I was rattled to my core, Wright said. Departing the country meant being able to take a full breath for the first time. Shannon traveled widely, and by her 30s was ready to move away for good. She considered Ecuador, but didn't think there were enough black people there. In 2013, she arrived on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica, an area with a large population of Afro-descended people and an influence from Jamaica that can be heard in the reggae booming on the beach and tasted in the beef patties sold on the street. She felt an unspoken connection to the black locals that she attributed to their shared ancestry and said to herself, I can build a community here. Shannon began boosting Puerto Viejo to her 40,000 Instagram followers. She launched an annual music festival, and is in the process of raising money to create a retreat center where any melanated person who has gone through the same traumatic experiences that most of us have gone through can come and just be for 6 months to a year. She connects new arrivals with doctors, dentists, and real estate agents to help make the transition easier, charging $140 an hour for formal consultations. She says she's helped some 70 people move here, many of whom have bought property, built homes, and begun luring down friends of their own. If you are a member of the African diaspora and need assistance with relocating to the African continent, please contact us on our website at www.travelandseeafrica.com.